I'm Jerry, work as a consulting coach in Solutions IQ, and right now I am at Agile Tour Singapore, and here I'm with the Bas Vodde. I'll let Bas to introduce.
Hi, I'm Bas Vodde. I'm an agile coach for a small company called Audi, which was here in Singapore and mostly in Asia. And I assume you're here also to talk about LeSS, which is one of the things that I've been working on the last year, which is a scaling framework created together with me and Craig Larman.
Wow, that's a nice thing. Bas, so little bit on the LeSS. Um, so how is it being received?
So far, so good.
Okay.
It's we more actively we put the website up about now a little bit over a year ago, and we started the certified LeSS practitioner training this year, and we've trained hundreds of people this year, and we've one of the things that we've enjoyed most, me and Craig, is the discovery of a lot of LeSS case studies that we weren't really aware of, because in the past we've always been so busy with our own coaching and with the products that we work with that we never really kept track of any of the other companies who were influenced by our earlier work and have used that. And now we've asked people to write case studies, or which are actually experience reports. And we discovered, all these wonderful products that have been adopting LeSS already for years.
Right. So, because you said about LeSS, I remember 2008 and 9 when we were working in Nokia Siemens network. There was nothing LeSS, but we used the scale model, the 2 books you released. So, but then I seen this LeSS last few years.
Yes.
So it's something you and Craig kind of forced to publish a framework. It's a market push because other models are getting thing, or is there something a planned activity?
Yes, it's been the last 2 years or so. It's been a combination of things. First, the name LeSS got created. Craig always just called it LSS and Large Scale Scrum. And then one day I started playing with words, and we figured that if you add an E to it, it makes LeSS. And it seemed kind of obvious in retrospect, but it was quite a discovery. And we figured that LeSS was a great name for what we were trying to promote, because it's an acronym, and it kind of describes some of the philosophies behind LeSS, and it's a nice contrast to other scaling frameworks, which don't promote minimalism, but other things.
Yes.
So that's the name, and then it is the other formulated scaling processes and frameworks that eventually also led us to ask the question whether we want to just keep coaching, or whether we want to formalize some of the work that we've done. And we sat down and we said, we think it's time to formalize some of the things we've done, because that would be most beneficial for the community and the world. So we changed our focus and started up the LeSS company, put up the site, changed the direction of our upcoming 3rd book a little bit, and started a training program.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So you touched upon your next book. So I've been reviewing that, but so when is it coming out?
It is coming out last year. January or so.
I remember that, yes.
Now in January, December this year. We'll put a push to it.
Okay.
And then hopefully we'll wrap up the book. All chapters are written by now, but Craig and me are two perfectionists working together, which means that it goes through endless review cycles and discussions before we even put it in the more public review, which you've been helping us with.
Yeah.
So hopefully I sent a new chapter to Craig yesterday, and that one should be in public review hopefully next week.
That's
and then so considering all the copy editing and publishing thing, I'd say May, June.
yeah.
Quite happy with it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it being finally finished.
Yeah. Even me too, looking forward to that book, because I reviewed for many chapters, and maybe a question little on the controversial thing of this comparison between different framework. It used to be Kanban versus Scrum, and now within Scrum between different scale model. So do you personally, me or you and Craig, like this debate, or you wanted to say, let the people choose? What is your view?
The way I look at it is that there's a couple of sensible approaches, and LeSS is just one of the sensible approach, and there's a couple not so sensible approaches, which I would not recommend anyone to choose.
Yeah, agree.
They might seem more safe, but I don't think they're very safe.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing, the other thing I just ask you is, when long back in innocent time, in your work, you always, and I'm really happy to see where LeSS is the heart of Scrum. There you are kind of more close to that. Where all other models are moving away, putting all the hierarchy, and you're promoting and fighting a lot to move away from the hierarchy. So how do you see, for example, you worked a lot in India. So how do you see when you implement LeSS in an Indian context, for example? How are the challenges?
Well, often people say that in countries like India, Scrum or Agile development is a problem because of a hierarchical society, and I do not believe that. I do think there's a problem in countries like India and adopting Scrum or LeSS or other Agile methods, but it has to do with a command and control management culture. And I think too often people equate hierarchy with command and control management. And I consider them to be very different, because hierarchy relates to how people look upwards towards power and how much value they attach to it. And command and control is what do you do with the power you got from an organization. Right? So a lot of the ideas which also has influenced LeSS come from Lean and Toyota production system, and come from Japan, which is one of the most hierarchical societies in the world, probably. But I've always looked at that hierarchy as actually being beneficial for building self-managing teams. Because if you have an hierarchical society and somebody sets a goal towards a team and makes clear towards the team that they're sharedly responsible for achieving that goal, then going back to your manager to say that you can't or don't or any of that would be shameful because of the society, the hierarchy. So one of the problems I've seen in India, and this is not all of India, this is a huge generalization of course, is the more controlling management style and managers losing touch of technology, because as soon as they become involved in management, they think that they don't need to know any development anymore. And I think you've seen that probably also.
Yes, yes. I really liked your differentiation of hierarchy with command and control. I think it's a great point. Probably helps a lot of people over there. So, just wanted to circle back. So you're here in Singapore.
Yep,
So what's
I
the
live
topic?
here in
Yeah,
Singapore.
yes, you live here. But so what's the topic? I seen it's like introduction. You're going to more detail about less, or it just
Yes, it will be. It will be covering about 10 minutes of a quick overview of Scrum and quick overview of LeSS,
oh,
and then about 50 minutes of the story of how LeSS was created.
wonderful.
And one of the reasons why I started doing this talk, I've done this talk a lot this year. I'm actually amused InfoQ is going to video it
Yes,
again.
yes.
And it's already online 3 times or so. So
Uh-huh.
then now you can watch 4 different variants and tell me which one was better.
Okay.
One of the reasons that we started doing this is that I started realizing that going over the rules or the LeSS framework doesn't really convey what LeSS is all about, and going over and explaining how and why it was created is much more towards the essence of what LeSS is about. So therefore you can explain concepts within that frame, within that story.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was
It
really
was good
nice.
seeing you
Yeah.
again.
Thank you so much.
Yes.